Hey guys, let's continue talking about the argumentative essay. And in this lecture, we're going to touch upon logical fallacies. Now, I'm not going to read all this content here aloud to you, because you can read that for yourself, but logical fallacies cannot happen in a successful essay. So there's the different examples here, the most common logical fallacies. And what happens is that a lot of people, when they read through and learn about logical fallacies, they go, wow, these happen all the time whenever I watch a political debate or if I'm watching the news, people base, decisions on these logical fallacies. Why is that? And the reason for that is that there's a lot of stupid people in the world who make unsuccessful arguments, and we want to avoid both of that. We don't want to be stupid, and we want to have a successful argument. So, after you've read through the different logical fallacies there, go ahead and, in the next part, the practice part, go in and identify the different logical fallacies that are present with each statement, as well see if you can come up with the revision, and then we'll see how you did. So go ahead and pause this lecture. For each one of these practice statements here, you want to identify the logical fallacy and then try to revise it to eliminate the logical fallacy. So go ahead and pause the lecture now. All right, so example A, parents should homeschool their children because then the children will not have to go to school. What is this, guys? This is, hopefully you got this one. This was an easy one. This is an example of circular reasoning. All that we're doing here is that we're just restating what homeschooling is. Of course, if you're homeschooled, you're not going to school. So you see how this statement is just wrapping around on itself? So how could we fix this? Well, this part here, right, this is the circular reasoning part. So we'd have to take this part and cut it, and then we would have to put a real reason, right? Parents should homeschool their children because it would allow greater safety and more content control than public schools. Right, so what did I do? I put an actual reason. Now, B, school uniforms should not be allowed at South Carolina Elementary because Miss Jones is the principal, and she got divorced, which is simply not a good role model for young children. What's happening here? We are attacking the person and not the issue. And when that happens, it's a logical fallacy. Just because the principal, Miss Jones, got divorced is not a reason that you shouldn't have school uniforms. So what do we have to do? Right? So this is where we have a logical fallacy. This has to go away. And what do we have to do? We have to put a reason. School uniforms should not be allowed at South Carolina Elementary because they will add cost to the parents' budget. Boom, that's a reason, right? School uniforms is one more thing for the parents to buy. That's a reason. Before, we were just attacking the person. Marijuana should be legalized because so many Americans smoke it every day. What's wrong with this? This is something that happens all the time. Bandwagon. Now, how do we fix this? Here's the part that's the bandwagon. What has to happen here? Have to come up with the reason. Marijuana should be legalized because it would generate tax revenues. That's a reason. D, marijuana should not be legalized because I smoked it once and I became so dizzy I fell. What is this? This is a hasty generalization, right? We're basing this just on what? The fact that you smoked it once. So what do you need to do? Well, you clearly need to smoke marijuana again. No, just kidding, y'all. We have to come up with a reason. Marijuana should not be legalized because all smoking is dangerous to one's health. That's a reason. Good. And then school uniforms should not be allowed in our elementary schools because they rob students of their right for self-expression. If a student loses the ability to express him or herself, he or she will become a thoughtless child. If a child is thoughtless, then the Illuminati will take over America. What happened here? We started off with a reasonable supposition, and then we slipped down the slope to the Illuminati taking over America. Now, the Illuminati might have taken over America, but school uniforms have nothing to do with that. Now, this is an easy fix. Right here, this is where we slip down the slope, right? So how do we fix this? Boom. Don't slip down the slope, guys. You can't make those illogical and unreasoned assumptions. So now we have the correction. So then the last one, the lottery should not be legal because of the waste in buying lottery tickets. They're simply thrown on the ground outside gas stations and are blown into ponds and rivers, which results in polluted waterways. Now, this is a perfect example of a non sequitur. What happens with a non sequitur is you bring in an idea which everybody would agree with. Yeah, when people have a losing lottery ticket, they just drop it and throw it on the ground. Pollution is bad. But we need to eliminate this fallacy. How can we do this? The lottery should not be legal because, what can we say here? The odds of winning are less than being struck by lightning. And that's true. And I misspelled lightning. There we go. So, please remember that these logical fallacies, we have to eliminate them from our arguments.